Hey guys, so in today's video, I want to share with you one of the best business development strategies that I see rarely used by any software house, and it's really a missed opportunity. And those are events. Many people go to many events, but they don't put too much thought into preparation. So I want to break down how we work with our clients when it comes to event strategy, because it's a core pillar of our outreach and it's like one of the best things ever. So there's different types of events. We're going to focus on the event where you want to generate leads from. Not talking about the educational events which you visit probably, or our event like the Founders Summit. Go to that as well. But the events where you go for business. So the first thing is you have to choose the event. So you have to spend some time on research. Now, how do you pick an event where you can stand out as a software house? There's not going to be a lot of competition, plus people you talk to will be interested in what you have to say. This comes back to the project database like we discussed in previous videos and live streams, and identifying campaign targets. But basically I'll demonstrate on an example. We have a client who's building custom e-commerce like apps, and they have a case study in football. So they work with like a really large football association, and they build a platform for football operations. It's very complex. Anyway, so with that, it's a super niche thing. However, there is an event in Spain where people from all over the world who are in football come and they talk about technology. And it's a super cool event, like really super niche, exactly what we are looking for. So this is what we choose. So it takes about 1 hour or 2 hours on Google to find these type of events. So what do you want to look for? So first thing, you want to look at the size of the event. The event itself should have about 1,000 plus people. So some of the big trade shows that I've attended in the past had like 100,000 people, and that's great. It's a challenge though, because the venue is so large. So maybe that's still good to attend, but I would pick like mid-size events. So anything below 1,000 is not recommended, because you won't have as many people there. A lot of people will be relevant, and there's not a networking like an app that you get. So you want to pick events where you have at least 1,000 people. That's a bare minimum. Then you want to look at the type of an event. So industry where there's not going to be a lot of software houses, so you want to avoid technical events. Web Summit, where everybody goes, is a horrible event, like one of the worst, because there's no leads. It's just other people pitching each other. It's like really terrible. So you want to go to the event where you are premium, you are pitching something that other people want to hear about. So you want to go to that type of event. So we have a client also, he's in automotive space, so he would go to automotive events around the world, doesn't matter. So you pick an event. Of course you want to go somewhere where it's not like in India, but I've been to Dubai at an event, I've been to London in the events, I went to Sweden. So you want to pick a country, which is the next step, the location, where you have client references. So people there, the majority of people will be from that region, so you want to have some client reference, which makes it more more unique. Or you want to have like a very specific niche, like with the football thing, where it's more about the thing you developed and less about where you did that. So you want to pick markets typically in the Western Europe, but anywhere in US, Canada is fine. It just depends how complicated will it be to go there, because you have to fly, you have to do all these things, and sometimes the cost of the event can be quite high. So you want to look at all these things and calculate it. So what do you do? Basically, another thing to think about is an app. So each event will have an app, a mobile app where you can network with people. That app will become typically live 2 or 3 weeks before the event. But before you buy a ticket, you want to make sure the app exists. So you email the organizer and make sure that they have a networking system, because if you don't have the access to attendees, it's a waste of time. It's going to be quite difficult to find out who's going to the event. So you want to have the app access. Now, once the app becomes live 2 or 3 weeks before the event, they give you access, you log in, you want to scrape all the people into a spreadsheet. Now you can do it with some programming, since you're developer, or you can simply like really do manual scrape where you send it to freelancers or some people who are doing data research and just send them screenshots of all the people who attend, and they just manually write it in the table. Either way, it's not that expensive. It just has to be in a spreadsheet. So you're gonna have a name, a company, and title, and their email, all that. Typically, the email will not be part of that list. So once you have a list of people and the companies and the titles, you want to have an email add to the list, so you will have like a researcher researching emails for that. If you don't know how to find emails, it's a very simple process, but you can just hire somebody from Upwork, just type in lead researcher or email researcher and just send them the list and say, hey, I need 100% verified emails. They can find 80% of them for $4 or $5. So that's something you do. Now, all of this takes time and preparation, right? So you spent a couple of days on figuring this out. So I've been to many small events, startup events, large trade shows. All of them are good. There's not like a one type of event I recommend. It's just what I don't recommend are small events, 200 people, 300 people, 500 people, not enough. Because you want to have a sample size of maybe 500 contacts you'll email, and there's not going to be enough, because even from 1,000 people, half of them will be irrelevant, another half will be like solution providers, another half will be like something else. So there's always different stakeholders at the event, and the group you're looking for is going to be maybe 1/3. So you want to have a decent size of that. Anyways, let's say you have the event, it works, it has all these things lined up. What's next? You don't necessarily have to book a flight or a hotel, depending on the location, of course, but the hotel itself is like the last thing I would worry about. A flight could be, but if it's like in Europe, what does it cost to fly to London or somewhere? It's like super cheap. So maybe you can buy a flight, and even if you cancel the event, it's not a big cost. It's like €100 fine. If it's in the US, then I would think about it. Like, it might be quite more expensive. What do you do then? So 2 or 3 weeks before the event, you have a list already, as we discussed. And you have a process for reach out. You don't want to do it yourself as a founder. This is something you can't do because it will be so intensive. So you want to have a goal in mind which will justify the investment into the event. So let's say the event is 2 days. So you want to have minimum 15 meetings in 2 days. So you can spread it 10 and 5, 7 and 7, whatever you want. But you want to have that minimum KPI set up, because if you go to an event and it's just 1 day event, it's kind of difficult to reach the potential you want. 2-day events are the best because you can have 1 day and second day. 3-day events, quite drag. I was at 5-day events and it's like a nightmare. You're just always networking is kind of difficult to focus, but 2-day events are the best. So if you have 2 days, like getting 15 meetings is not hard. I was in Sweden in April. I get 17 meetings in Sweden in 2 days, and from there I think like 5-6 opportunities. So you want to then think about the funnel, like how many of these will I have as an opportunity, and maybe convert a third into opportunities, right? And I recommend 1 event every quarter. So 1 event per 3 months, because you need a month of preparation and then 2-3 weeks after the event of follow-ups. So 1 event is quite busy. It's quite busy. That's why this is a strategy that we recommend, and it's like one of the best, because you get the physical meetings, you can build trust, you can speed up the sales cycles, and all those things, and it's really great. You just have to justify the investment of time, flights, and hotels. But really, sometimes the events are very cheap. The trade shows especially, some events are more expensive, but they are more niche, so it's up to you. But this would be my plan. Anyways, hope it helped. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below.